Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, it's Siegen Sarowick. Now, usually I let Siegen talk now. However, I need to apologize. Like Tiger Woods and so many other disgraced celebrities before me, I stand before you, hat in hand, asking for the apology of not only you, the listener, but of Siegen Sarowick for being late to the start of the recording of this episode of the Say Report.
Oh my god.
And the reason, ladies and gentlemen, is because just like they did when we were supposed to record our very special episode on Superbad, Ponkel has released a video game, and I have been consumed by it. I did not think that I would be into Vampire Crawlers, the Turbo Wildcard. The Turbo Wildcard from the creators of Vampire Survivors. But I was fucking wrong. I was oh so wrong. The wrongest I've ever been. Are you familiar with this at all, Siege? And you can talk now. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you down, but...
Well, no, it sounded like you were going to... You were mid-sentence there. You were also wrong about what?
No, I was oh so wrong. Not also wrong. Oh, so wrong. Did you know that a pon used to be spelled O-P-O-N? That's the old English spelling. I guess, like, you didn't exist.
There's a lot of that sort of weird shit. They were using F's for S's and all sorts of nonsense.
Yeah, that's just because we were like, that was our way of saying fuck you to the British, right? Every F that's actually an S in the original things that were printed in America, that was the American revolutionaries' ways of being like, fuck you, King George. It's true. I read about it in a book that I wrote in a dream. How you doing, buddy? What's going on? I mean, we can talk more about fine. Vampire Crawlers, but let's do how the show works. I'm apologizing to everybody. Sorry, I need to stop talking. Hi, buddy.
Hey, what's going on, man? I did see that you've been playing it. And I was curious if you were gonna dive in or not, because I know that you had kind of mentioned that you didn't think it was gonna be your jam.
Yes, and I gotta tell you, what this truly is a testament as to why video games should have fucking demos. And I know that's like, it's becoming more popular to give video games demos, right? It's not like it used to be in the past where, you know, nothing got demos and you had to buy stuff like sight unseen. But I would not be playing Vampire Crawlers if it didn't have a demo. That's just the fact of the matter, because I saw it and I'm like, oh, that looks awful. That just looks terrible. But then I looked and I saw that there was an update to the beta branch of Vampire Survivors that I had missed on April 1st. So I played through that and I'm like, well, that was fun getting all those done. They're introducing a character. Spoilers for when the beta goes public to everybody. I mean, you can opt into the public beta, so it is kind of available, but it's still not like a version release yet. The new character for Vampire Survivors is David Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China. Of course, they call him Big Troubler, but it's David Lopan, and that's just awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and he's got the lightning, like his weapon is just the lightning hands. It's pretty fucking great. But then after doing it, I'm like, well, you know, Vampire Crawlers comes out this week. Why don't I try the demo? And then, you know, 4 hours passed me playing the demo, and I completed the demo, and I'm like, well, that ruled. Now I'm going to have to redo this all when I buy the game, and I go over. Demo progress carries over to the actual game. So basically, those 4 hours were not for naught. That was fun to say. And the fact that I own Vampire Survivors and have put over 400 hours into it on Steam alone, not counting my 100% clear on Xbox or my 100% clear on Nintendo Switch or my 100% clear on PlayStation 5 or my 50% clear on PlayStation 4. I got $1 off of Vampire Crawlers $10 price tag. And I am now, that game is 83% complete for me. And that's something I started on Thursday.
Right.
I would love to come back next episode and report on how I 100% the game this weekend. that's my goal. But yeah, so it's really good. I've been looking to build decks. I've been like, Ninja Turtles came out in the Magic the Gathering set. I think we talked about it brief. The pricing is absolutely ridiculous. Target, which is sort of the only place that I ever see trading card games available these days, legitimately does not have 3-digit price tags. So what they had to do to like cover the fact that the draft box or like the rare bundle booster, I think it's like a gold booster or special booster pack that comes with like 9 packs, and one of them's a very special where everything will be rare or higher. They've had to combine price tags to show that it's $114.99.
Jeez.
And like I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And this is also, I mean, I don't know if I complained about it here. I definitely called Zach from This Story Makes Me Happy when it happened. On the shelf, one of the draft night bundles, which is enough to like do a draft and a bunch of like land cards, so you can actually play like a game this way. That was on the shelf for $50. It was marked as $50. I brought it over to the register. It rang up as $120. And I'm like,
whoa.
Oh, I don't want that. It says it's $50 over there. And Target's still the place that has the big sign of like, if you're asked to pay more than what it says on the price on the shelf, we will give you the item for that price and up to $20 of the difference. Like they have that whole thing where like, and I think that's going away. I have to be honest with you. I think that they need to scrape that off the automatic door when I'm entering Target, because legitimately it's happened to me and I've never gotten that. So, okay. But yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I don't want this. And the woman said, okay. And she put it aside. I'm like, I don't want to pay that price for it. It's supposed to be $50. She took it away. And then Dale like went in the store afterwards. She's like, I'm willing to pay that price. You want to do the draft night? I'm going to do. Dale went in to buy it. And she was also like, I'm also going to make a big stink about the fact that this sign is here. She took a photo of it on her way in. She walked over to the cards. All of the Ninja Turtle stuff had been cleared out in the 5 minutes since I grabbed it and went to check out. And I don't think it was cleared out by people who were buying it. I think that Target pulled it all down to make sure that the prices were correct. And so that
they probably realized that they hadn't done the specialty pricing and had just been placing them like they were just regular decks.
Yeah, and to be fair, like it's not like you said, but it did say draft night box set $50. I'm like, that's an incredible price for this. That's a mistake. I was trying to take advantage of what looked like a misprice on the shelf. I'll also admit my hand in it, but like it is a draft night box set. And it does say it right here that it's $50.
Yeah, man. I don't even think. Yeah, like I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did or anything like that.
No, I know, but that's
like you saw the price for something. You brought it up. When you found out it wasn't that price. It's not like you made a stink about it yourself.
Right. No, you're exactly correct. This shit. It was that was a whole thing. But I have been wanting to play card games again. But the issue with playing a trading card game is that you wind up with all this shit. And and where shit is like fucking trading cards that somehow just get everywhere. Like if you're seriously playing Magic the Gathering, I know that you got your deck boxes and everything, and that the people who are serious, they have it all together. I'm not trying to vilify anybody who plays trading card games, but in my experience, when I do, I end up finding trading cards everywhere in my house. And I don't just mean like loose cards. I mean that like I'll be reaching for something and somehow a booster pack is in my hand. Legitimately, I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but like Mr. Hyde is going out and buying booster packs and then hiding them like Easter eggs for Dr. Jekyll to find. But then you know what? Mr. Hyde is using Dr. Jekyll's credit card, so Dr. Jekyll's going to pay that. And you know what they don't allow returns on anymore? Is trading cards, which is something that's strange. Cause like I picked up like the board game that they have. Like they've formulated Magic the Gathering to play it as a board game with the Ninja Turtle cards. And I picked it up to see if anybody would be interested in playing. I was going to an event and nobody was interested. So I have a sealed box, and I mean, it is shrink wrapped. And I'm like, I just want to return this. I bought it for a party, and they're like, oh no, we don't allow any returns on trading card stuff. And I'm like, can you imagine the commitment that I have a shrink machine at my house? I opened this up. I emptied out all the good stuff. I reshrunk it, and now I'm trying to return it to you. And as those words come out of my mouth, that's most certainly a thing that people are doing. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that, like, there's got to be a reason why they don't allow returns anymore. I mean, the last time I was really into, like, Magic the Gathering stuff, it was, remember Hurricane Radio? Kevin and Devon versus the world? You and Will were supposed to be on an episode once, but it ended up being not only the end of that show, but the end of the radio station.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. There is a comic book shop there. Let me see if it's still there. I don't know if it's still there at this point. I think it's Game King is the name of it. And I might be wrong about that, and I'm not trying to do anything. I am trying to point out the fact that, like, no, they're no good. Do not go there at all. I am not a fan of them as a company, because I used to buy, before we would record, I'd jump in there and I'd buy just a pack of Magic cards, right? Because I was, like, not as addicted as I was, but you still like, oh, I still want to see what I get. And I opened up the pack once, and I had no rare in it. And there's supposed to always be at least one rare card in it. Like, they have it all detailed on the website that every booster pack will come with between 4 and 7 commons. There's 11 cards, right? So between 4 and 7 commons, 3 to 4 uncommons, and then 1 rare. Like, so the math's not there. Like, I'm not going to go to the website. I'm not going to look it up. But I opened up the pack, and there was no rare in it. So then the next time I went, I looked at them, and all of the packs, like, there's a reason why Magic the Gathering cards now come in like a cardboard shell. And it's because what card stores were doing where they were opening them up and then resealing them after taking out the good cards.
Yeah.
Like, there was a real problem that was happening. And that was when I stopped buying them the last time I stopped buying Magic cards. But the Ninja Turtle stuff, it just looks so cool. I know that people were, like, real pissy about it because, oh my god, the ever-adaptable Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are being adapted to have their own storyline in the Magic the Gathering universe. Raphael uses jits instead of size? What madness is this? It's ridiculous. You're all ridiculous, right? What they wanted to do was to make stuff unique for this world. On the one hand, right, and I'm fine with that. Clearly, we've talked enough about adaptation, specifically of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where I'm not going to have an issue with that. But where I could, like, lend some credence to it is that they had, like, Kevin Eastman and other original artists. I know for a fact Kevin did it. I don't know of any names of anybody else who did specific artwork for the cards. But, like, Kevin Eastman, his version of a Raphael card, he'll be holding size instead of the JIT. And it's just like, well, like, that's confusing. I understand some confusion because there is a version of this Raphael who is using his, like, agreed upon standard weapon. But yes, so my desire to play, like, trading card games, freaking Vampire Crawlers, I just thought it was like a dungeon crawler type thing. I didn't realize that it's also a deck builder. And I know that's on me, right? Like, I thought that was just how you played. I didn't think it was like the deck builder aspect of it. And I got to tell you, it is scratching my itch to play Magic the Gathering again, and it only cost me $10. And I would be very surprised if it's going to cost me more than that. There might be, like, DLC down the line. But, like, Ponsel just understands as a company that, like, if we make a hyper affordable game and then we make hyper affordable DLC, everybody will buy our game.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, no, it's a killer strategy. Actually, marketing to the people that that want to play and afford your game.
Yeah, and also developing a game that's fucking just incredible. Like, I mean, for like the target audience, I know that I can't think I've met anybody who is as obsessed with Vampire Survivors, the satellite game. I mean, I guess not the satellite. Satellite would be Vampire Crawlers. I don't know the other one. The anchor game of Vampire Survivors. Yeah. I am, within our friend group, within the people that we know, the person who has almost put in like 10,000 hours to become a master in this game. And even that's because I'm over 1,000. Like that's why I say that the 10,000 hours thing. I know I'm nowhere actually near 10,000 hours. But almost everybody that I know who's played the game enjoyed their time with it. They were not upset that they bought the game.
Yeah. No, man. It's funny you say that, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like me in Stardew. Like the fact that I have 350 hours on my PC, 500 hours on my PlayStation. I've also played it on Switch, but I don't think I've ever checked the timestamps there. Like I've had 6 farms going at once, and it's not that other people that I talk to about that game don't like it. They like it a lot. It's just nobody has just sat around and just dove into it like I have. And so I there's definitely that element of like this was built for me almost, right? Like you feel like this thing was created just for me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I understand that. Like especially with like Vampire Survivors, I remember watching people play it on Twitch and being like, I mean, the thing that got me to try that game was the fact that like people were missing like obvious synergy moments within the game that I was picking up on. Now, the first thing is when you're not playing the game, when you're observing the game, it's a lot easier to avoid the tunnel vision of video games. Like, which is such a crazy thing. I spend a lot of time on Twitch, though, and so people are like, I can't believe you didn't see it. Or, like, the back seating. It's like, yeah, you're able to back seat because you're not focused on Mario. You're taking it the whole, like, level. Where, like, most people, I mean, is that how you play games? I don't know if that's, like, a me thing, where I'm focused on what I'm controlling, not necessarily everything around me.
I think I've learned more and more as I've gotten older to focus on other elements, and it's because I know exactly what you mean, but for me it was Sonic. The difference between the way that I used to play Sonic, where I would just run to the end of every level, to what I do now, which is explore every level and like use my speed to get places and things like that. Like it becomes a much more interesting and much more fulfilling game, right? Like and doing it that way. And I think it's just kind of one of those things, is that just people are just kind of they're moving past, like when people design games, I mean, they're moving past this idea that like this is all that you're focused on. They're throwing secrets everywhere. There's lore stuff hidden around if you're paying attention. There's and if this stuff isn't there, it feels like the game is almost kind of like thin or cheap in some way. I don't know. So like I get what you're saying, like this idea that you get into this like tunnel vision when you play, though. Like for sure there's this idea that especially if you're doing it in front of an audience, especially if you're trying to do it for like a speed run or something specific, like you're focused on what you're doing. You're not really thinking about all the other games that could be being played right now, if that makes any sense, right? Like it's
intangibles. It's the intangibles of when you're playing a game. You're like me. A lot of the times when I first play a game, I am focused on finishing the game. And then if I enjoyed my journey from A to Z, then I will definitely take the time to explore the remaining 24 letters between the two of those. I'm actually pretty proud of that metaphor. I'm not going to lie to you.
Nice. Yeah, it was good.
Thank you. I didn't need you to pat me on the back either, but it's appreciated. But yeah, so it's one of those. But like I also use peripheral vision. Like I have crazy peripheral vision. It almost got me in trouble with a police officer once when he's like, I need you to do a sobriety test. And he's like, follow my finger. And like I could still see his finger without moving my eyes, and he's like, "You need to follow my finger." And I'm like, "Sorry, I have very developed peripheral vision, so it's hard for me to like understand that my eyes need to move to see something." Like I see a lot in front of me all the time, sir. So while like my primary focus is usually on the character and what the character is doing and doing stuff with the character, like secondarily and tertiary, I am aware of my surroundings. But like that doesn't necessarily mean if I'm looking for a secret that I'm going to figure it out until I go like, all right, it's secret searching time.
Right, yeah. It's also a different it's also just a different mode of play, right? Like if you're playing to get to the end, right? If you're focused on traversing and getting around versus that I'm going to take my time and figure stuff out. Your brain is just not looking for that stuff. You know, that is you literally telling your brain, so don't worry about this right now. And so, yeah, you're going to miss things because that's not what you're focused on. I mean, that's the whole, yeah. It's why guys go in and learn games as well as they do. And people don't do as much just like, you know, this is my first time ever playing this game and I kicked its ass. Like that doesn't happen. What happens is that people go in because they learn about the distractions. They're like, okay, I know this stuff is going to happen here. This is going to happen there. So like, I'm not going to get caught by one of these things or notice something for the first time and completely screw myself. They know they know those levels like the back of their hands.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at sight playing video games, but a lot of that also comes from exactly learning the logic of different video games. Like Zelda enemy logic is you have to kill everything in a room because you never know what's going to happen once this room has no more enemies in it. Whereas Mega Man logic is you can avoid enemies until you can't avoid them. Like that type of stuff, right? Or like Mario logic, these levels are very small. So, like, if you go slow, they're going to take a long time. But if you just aim to finish it, you could probably be done with this already.
Yeah. Right. But there's this idea that if you want to, you could explore and find stuff. And you know that because you're in that Mario game. And, like, yeah, you are very good at sight-playing games. But at the end of the day, are you confident enough that you would sit down at a game you've never played before in a competition to like speed through it?
I have done that too. Like that's what the frag events and like RWX, a lot of that was sight learning games. And it's gone both ways, right? Like when I had to play GoldenEye competitively, I shit the bed. When I had to play Mario Kart 64, like battle mode, and the first thing I did was drive off the map, immediately eliminating me. The only reason I brought up the sight playing is that like that is not just like an ingrown ability. Like it does come from the fact that I rented a shit ton of video games when I was a kid, and with those you very rarely got the manual, so it was all figure this out, good fucking luck. But because of that, that's where I developed there's a whole section of my brain that's a file cabinet to like compare any video game I play to other video games that I have played. And when I put it into those words, it's a little depressing.
Oh man, no, but it's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I am looking forward to getting my hands on it as well. I am just not as invested as you as in the whole Vampire Survivors verse. So I have just been kind of sitting back for the moment. But I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It is. The other crazy thing is that I know that because I've put so much time into Vampire Survivors, it's a big boon in Vampire Crawlers. Because I already know that, like, the axe plus armor, that's not right. The axe plus candle will give me the scythe. Or the rune tracer plus armor will give me the no future. Like, I understand that stuff. So I'm already familiar with how the weapons are supposed to work. It's sort of the reason why, like, I'm talking about having a catalog in my brain telling me how video games work, because I definitely think all the time I put into Vampire Survivors is a big deal reason why I'm enjoying Vampire Crawlers as much as I am. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience. And
are they considering it a sequel or a different series or a DLC? What are they calling it?
So I wasn't kidding when I called it the Turbo Wildcard. Vampire Crawlers, the Turbo Wildcard from Vampire Survivors. So like it really just seems to be what if Vampire Survivors were a deck builder and not a like idle game. I don't even know how to describe the first game, right? They're all roguelites, but it legitimately is what if the gameplay in Vampire Survivors, instead of run around and do this, was deck building.
Yeah.
And again, and initially I did not think that would be something that would appeal to me, but you take a soupçon of the fact that I've been wanting to get into a trading card game again, that it's a property I'm already hyper familiar with and have invested a lot of time in. It plays so well, and that's the thing that I was most nervous about, was like Vampire Survivors at its core is a very simple game. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that like it's not a huge burden on any system that plays it. I mean, it can get to that point. You can break it by using like the limit breakers and the things like that if you show like damage numbers. But like essentially almost any computer can run Vampire Survivors. Vampire Crawlers, because it's just the way that it's built and the focus, I was nervous that it would be much more like resource hungry and thus would play. But I've played it on like all of my little mini PCs. I haven't put it onto anything like bigger than that. And the experience is just incredible. Like it really is. But like Vampire Crawlers has voice acting. All of the characters have voices now, which is kind of cool. Kind of video game voice acting annoyance. Because every time Pugnala, like I have her out there, and I do something, she'll be like, "Ooh, that was smart." And I'm like, "I'm tired of you telling me that it was smart. Thank you, I appreciate it, but it'd be cool if you had other voice lines." But yeah,
I wonder how much you can change with that in the settings. It's become really popular in some bigger AAA games these days to actually, straight up put sliders in of how much like background noise do you want. I don't know about the indie game space, what people have been doing with that.
I have not ever really looked at the settings of Vampire Survivors, but I know from my day that I like platinumed it when it released on PlayStation 5 that there is an intense amount in VS that you can customize in terms of what to hear. Because like people were coming into my stream and being like, "Can you lower this part? We want to hear this part." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll modify it. I'm not listening to it." So like, if the music is overpowering, then yeah, let me turn that down a little bit for you. If you want to make sure you hear the power up noises, though, I can make that happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vampire Crawlers has a fairly robust system there. But at the same time, it's kind of cool hearing voices for all these characters that I know already.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's why you don't want it a one-for-one, like, on or off thing. Right. Like, you player call-outs or NPC call-outs, I guess, in this case. Like, you want that stuff to be audible, but you just don't want it to be there so much. Whereas there are some people that don't mind that, or, I don't know. It's, that was a problem that I had with Borderlands 3 that I was really worried I was going to have with Borderlands 4, and thankfully it actually wasn't a big issue. But after putting in as much time as I have into Borderlands 3 with Amara specifically, the like heavy panting whenever you're running around in that game starts to get annoying, and at some point it's weird, like listening to this person just like breathe heavy in your ear for 20 minutes as you've been running around. And so like, and that's when I found that there was a way to like turn off player callouts entirely, but then like you don't get any of the fun stuff. So I have seen other games improve on that by, like I said, making it almost like basically a slider, or some of them have like a 3-choice option. But you should check it out and see if you can turn that down at all, because little things like that are something that people have already started addressing. So I bet you could find it.
I will say it was like cute yesterday, but now that I'm getting to like harder dungeons, like it starts to get annoying. Like it's something that has built to that annoyance. And you need to understand that like I've only had it for like 4 days technically, but I've put in hours and hours into this game. The level of energy that I'm bringing to this is part Mountain Dew Dragon Fruit, part a cup of coffee, part 2 sushi rolls. But also I've been up since 5:30 this morning, and the bulk of that has been spent playing Vampire Crawler.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, I tried that Baja Midnight. You try that yet?
The one over at Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Not a fan. I will be honest with you.
Yeah.
Baja Midnight is not my favorite. I like Baja Blast more. Dale swears by it. If we're getting Taco Bell and the Taco Bell doesn't have Baja Midnight, which is a weird thing around here, she'll be like, we're going to a different Taco Bell. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I don't think I'm that into it, but I liked it.
I don't know how I
don't
feel
think
about
I would like rob a Taco Bell for their Baja Midnight, but
what is the statute of limitations on like a shitty thing you did as a teenager?
I mean, that would be 20 years ago,
At least, right?
Well, depending on how shitty the thing, as long as you didn't like murder somebody.
I didn't kill anybody, right? Like this one time at Taco Bell when Baja Blast had just come out and I couldn't afford a drink, I took off my baseball cap and I filled it with Baja Blast and drank out of my baseball cap. I need to tell somebody about that.
Yeah, buddy, I think you're good. I think you're fine. I don't think that they care.
Oh my God, Yum Brands is who's that at the door? Sergeant, they're coming for me.
Man, it would have been the mid '90s, right? Like, so
it was the 2000s.
Silly shit.
I was in college. I was in high school. It was back when like
the story is changing.
Well, it was 20 years ago. I wasn't in high school 20 years ago, so it's longer than 20 years. But yeah, it was right when Baja Blast had just come out, which I think was like 2003. And it was that time, I mean, we did it in college. I don't know if you do this anymore. I feel like it's something you age out of. But like, we used to go to fast food places and eat at the fast food place. I mean, I have plenty of memories doing that with you.
Apparently don't do that, but like we used to do that all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And it's certainly something that has slowed down for me. I say that, but the day that I picked up my MacBook Neo, I went to a Checkers and Rallies that was like 15 minutes away, and I ate my Checkers and Rallies there, and that was so cool. Like, I had such a good time just eating lunch at a fast food restaurant again.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, a lot of places have started to phase out like the kid zones, whatever they may be. And the ones that do have them, it feels like they're like their own like entity almost. Like there's no standardized McDonald's play place anymore, right? And so it's not like it used to be, because like I remember the slides and shit that used to be in weird places, and like they'd sneak video games in there somehow later in the 90s and the 2000s.
All right, now here's the real question for you as a fellow millennial. Did you ever have a McDonald's birthday party?
I don't recall, but it also wouldn't have been the kind of thing that I necessarily would have wanted.
It's fine.
But
like I went to some, and I had one once. Yeah, it's like just your birthday's at McDonald's. This was when we were in Templeton, so there really wasn't much else to go to have like a party that wasn't at your house.
No, so, and there is the idea that I definitely was taken to McDonald's for my birthday. Like my mom and dad would say, we could do fast food that night because it was my birthday or something like that. And McDonald's would be something in that regard. But I don't know. I'm learning a lot now about my my inner workings these days. But I was I was fine being alone a lot as a child. I'm finding out that I
I'm glad we found each other in college, CJ.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, because that's like two big McDonald's memories that I have accessed through this conversation. I'll do three because they're all fun memories, and they're all Templeton Gardner area. So like right before I became a 10-year-old. One is the birthday party I had at McDonald's, which is where I got Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Like, that's the thing that I visually just remember. The second is that the first time that I saw the Dark Crystal was at the Timpani Boulevard McDonald's in Gardner, Massachusetts. Because it was just on a TV in the kid area. And I watched, like, the Dark Crystal while having not even a Happy Meal. Remember when McDonald's, like, introduced the after-school snack special that was a cup of orange drink and an order of fries?
Oh, yeah. God.
McDonald's used to really advertise to children. Fuck.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about when they inevitably started doing those, like, mid-teen meals.
Oh, yeah, the big... Them. Well, Burger King called them big kids meals. And I don't remember, were they happier meals? I think they were just called happier meals.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, but the idea was that they were like, there was a little bit more food going on, a little bit more. And,
it was a double cheeseburger.
Toy, which is the important part.
Yeah, it was a double cheeseburger instead of just a cheeseburger. Or it was, I think, a 6-piece nugget instead of the 4-piece nugget. Like, this is for bigger kids who need more protein because they're growing. But, like, also McDonald's wanted to keep you on the fucking teat of their trans fat ecstasy. I don't know the words that are coming out of my mouth. The third McDonald's memory
it sounded like you were writing a Who song, but
it's Tommy 2, and it's all about how Tommy's not deaf, dumb, and blind. He's fat and addicted to McDonald's. He's still really good at pinball, though. We do have fun. We have fun at this show. And then the third one, the third Gardner memory, is that one of the McDonald's did pizzas, and every Sunday morning we would go to the Walmart, and then afterwards we'd go to that specific McDonald's, and I would get a McDonald's pizza, McPizza. Yeah, man. Like,
they put the kibosh on that shit, apparently. Like, somebody came in and was like, we are not doing pizza because this is not us. But, like, it's still a thing in, like, I guess Europe, definitely Japan. Because Japan, they basically, it's a fucking free-for-all out there.
Well,
but the McPizza is available outside of the U.S., I do believe.
Oh, yeah. So are McHot Dogs. Like, remember when you get a hot dog at McDonald's? I don't have as many theories about the hot dog thing, but I do have a feeling when you consider that, you know, pizza's more of an Italian food. It's a regional Italian dish. And then what we know about maybe the mafia and Italian ties. I'm not saying anything, but I would understand if maybe there was a discussion between the 5 families. Corleone, they're like, this is not going to stand. McDonald's not going to take our pizza business away from us. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to make Ronald McDonald an offer he cannot refuse. I think that happened. I think that's why the McPizza has been shut down in America.
Belongs to me now.
And no more play places.
They're full of piss.
Oh, this was fun. This was a good time. But yes, Vampire Crawlers is one of the Castlevania-like games that led to this episode being called the Castlevania-Like Report. But before we go to the second game, Sejan, what have you been up to this past week?
Man, you got me. I've been doing it. I feel like I've been doing a lot, but I can't tell you fuck all. Like, it's been a lot of getting life back on track shit. It's we had somebody in the house that had a broken leg. We had somebody in the house that was also bedridden with, I think, COVID was what it ended up being. But I luckily was nowhere near them the whole time, so I don't know. But like, there's just been so much going on here that we've been like completely forgetting to just like, you know, take care of ourselves, like go grocery shopping, that sort of shit. So this week has been a lot of me being like a real adult, and I fucking hate it. Like,
that is not the reason why I thought you weren't going to think about this week, because this week for me was 420 on Monday, Toke Tuesday, Weed Wednesday, 4 Thursday, and then Let's Get Friday. Like this, I celebrated all week. The fact that I could remember anything I did this week besides like hang out with, I guess not the Green Fairy. Can we start calling weed the Green Hedgehog? Can we start calling it Manic the Hedgehog from Sonic Underground? Triplets born, the throne awaits.
I mean, we can call it anything we want, man.
That's true. Yeah, man. No, Manic the Hedgehog all week. Even I'm not gonna do anything last night, and then that ended up happening anyway. So double thumbs up. Double rainbow all the way
here's my
across
secret,
the
Dev.
I'm always high. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, Bruce, I didn't realize. That's why the Hulk's skin is green. He smoked himself so that it messed with his, I don't know, what is that called? Melatonin? Melanin? It's melanin. It's melanin. Melatonin's the thing you take so you can sleep at night. This was fun for me, this conversation. I'm glad that you were an adult this week. I cleaned out my car. That felt pretty good. Of course, I had to clean out my car so that I could help Dale pick up a bike. So, that was something else. I got that bike in the, Dirk Gently, Holistic Detective Agency, the first Dirk Gently book, that, there's the couch that's just wedged in the stairwell. That bike was like that for a little bit. Because I got it in my car, but then I could not get it out of my car. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's happened.
Oh, no.
We got it out. We did get it out. It is now safely in a storage shed on property. But when it came home, I'm like, how did I get it in?
What kind of bike we talking?
It's a Schwinn. It's a Schwinn Legacy.
Ooh.
Bright yellow. I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't mean any, it's really nice that this professor gave Dale this bike rather than throw the bike away. The bike is a piece of trash. From a distance, it looks like a good bike. She was sent a photo of it where she's like, yeah, I'll take it. But then, in trying to solve the riddle of the Schwinn and get it out of the back of my car, I noticed that, the frame of the bike is warped. There's a lot of rust in areas where, you wouldn't notice it. So, it's a bit of a project bike. The only thing that's in, pristine condition is the chain. And I do know, as somebody who rode bikes until I was about 25 years old, that is important. Having a well-lubricated, nice, tight chain on the bike, that's going to be one of the more expensive things to make sure that's happening. But yeah, I was a little disappointed seeing the bike up close and being like, I don't know if this bike is safe to ride right now. So yeah, you always sort of drift into the left in the front, but to the right in the back.
That's wild.
Yeah,
man.
it is.
So is she expected to do this project, or are you thinking
I'm not gonna do it. I'm done. I've restored so many bikes in my life. I'm done with it. I restored a bike with my grandfather when I was very young. That was cool because it was a 3-speed bike and the shift was literally a stick shift. It wasn't one of those knobs up at the top. It was hand on the left and moving it with my right and then getting my hand back up. That was a beautiful bike and I had a lot of fun with that one. I also helped my mother recover a Schwinn bike that she bought at an auction way back in the trailer park days. So that was fun. And that was her doing a lot of the work. But I was there for doing the things. So I'm kind of biked out at this point. Yeah, it's a free bike, but how much is a bike right now? That's a question I didn't think I'd ask. How much is just a bike? Adult bike.
Yeah, I mean there's always the Walmart special that I think is riding around 100 to 150.
Yep,
right?
a Concord Envoy City Road bike from Walmart is $128.
Yeah.
The one that I would look at, just typing an adult bike into Google, none of these people are sponsors, but I'm just going to be honest with it. Dick's has a Huffy's men's Good Vibrations cruiser bike that is $200. And it looks just like this bike that Dale got, but it also has the benefit of a little cup holder that can also be used for your phone. It looks like the exact same thing. I think that $200. Academy Sports has it for $160. Though it does point out that it's usually $200. But $200 for a bike that I could then just start riding seems good. Oh, Huffy Women's Good Vibrations Cruiser Bike for $160. So, like, the amount of money that you'd need to put in to get this bike to a working state, I think you could just get a new bike. And honestly, I think when it comes to a bike, I'd prefer the new bike. Because remember, I just told you stories about times that I have restored bikes. Any bike that I restored did not then go on to live a long, healthy, happy bike life. Nothing against the bike, right? It did good, but you know, it's like you're not slapping paint on something, but you're doing that type of thing to wring a few more years out of it. I'd have to imagine that if I picked up like any of these bikes that I'm seeing online right now, even that 131 from Walmart, that it would like last for, I'd probably get like 5 years out of it, which honestly for any vehicle, 5 years is what you should look at, which is just depressing as hell when you think about cars. That like you should expect 5 years out of this now. Remember when cars used to be tanks and they would last for 30 years before like we have a discussion about maybe we need to get something else going?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I kind of want to get one of them electric bikes like Rooster has in the HBO show Rooster. Those are cool. They're like
Still enjoying your time with that? You keep hinting at it in every conversation.
Well, I want to wait till the series is over. It's on HBO, so again, everybody doesn't have like reference ability with it. But I do kind of want to let it finish. I'm going to let it finish before I talk about it and the Scrubs revival. That way you have time to check it out if you want. I will say this last episode of Rooster, episode 8 of Rooster, was unfortunately the weakest episode of Rooster. Like, I was really looking forward to it, but it was kind of weak in terms of, like, we've been building to this thing and now we've revealed it. It literally felt like a Bill Lawrence special, I'll be honest with you. Very famously, I know Siege knows this, I'm talking to Siege when I say very famously, really loved the first season of Scrubs, loved the series finale and the cliffhanger that it left on, and then the first episode of season 2 was such a disappointment to me that I did not watch Scrubs again until the 5th season revival, after it had been canceled for two years, and then they brought it back.
Yeah.
And even that's just a fact, and then that happened until JD got Elizabeth Banks pregnant because he prematurely ejaculated while they were both in a hot tub, and somehow his swimmers found her uterus, which is, I guess, a real thing that can happen, but it just felt like so contrived for a sitcom about doctors. Yeah. So I stopped watching again until the final season when it went from NBC to ABC. And then I watched Scrubs Med School, and I think that Scrubs Med School is as good as the first season of Scrubs. Come for me. Like, seriously, fight me if you want to. But legitimately, I think that the reason that show, first of all, they should have just let it be a standalone spinoff, which was the plan. If you tried to turn the first season of Frasier into the 12th season of Cheers, Frasier would not have then gone on to have 10 more seasons, right? Trying to mutate what was clearly written to be a spinoff that would feature some of the characters you knew from Scrubs in it, into a 9th season of Scrubs after a finale that legitimately tied up all of the loose ends with a happy ending, even a happy ending for somebody like me who was disappointed in the show at the start of its 2nd season and only dropped in occasionally after that. Like, that was stupid. That was a dumb move on ABC's part. That, like, people don't understand that it's a spinoff. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, why do people not understand how television has worked since its inception?
I mean, it didn't. We've talked about it before.
Oh, yeah,
They did themselves no favors because, like, it feels like even internally they couldn't decide what it was.
Well, no, like there's been a lot of talk about the 9th season of Scrubs, which is Scrubs Med School. I'll still call it that because that's what it was originally pitched as. It's what every title screen calls it, which it's also kind of weird because Sacred Heart was a teaching hospital, so like it was always med school. Like, there were some issues from the outset, but a lot of the stuff that's talked about the fact that we're just going to ignore that 9th season of the show. John C. McGinley was the best interview that I saw, where he's like, there's some really good stuff in that. There's like, you have Dave Franco before he becomes like famous, and he's like talking about the people and he's talking about the stories. And then what he brought up is that like, the issue was we started it out at Scrubs was canceled. That's why we had the season 8 finale. And then they're like, but we're going to give you a spinoff show. And then when the spinoff wasn't doing well, the mandate from ABC was, you need to make this into the 9th season of the show.
Yeah.
Like it didn't seem like creative choices internally, which is why I am still somebody who can celebrate it. It was a lot of studio oversight that fucked with that one.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think rather famously that everybody kind of knows that the end of Scrubs was not handled well by ABC.
Yeah, which is why, and that's like, I would like to talk a little bit about the revival and what I think is what I was convinced was gonna be the finale of season 1 of the revival of Scrubs. Which did not happen, but now I'm getting that like ick creep up the back of my neck. Like, yeah, they didn't end the first season with it, but it'd be a hell of a way to start the second season, Devon. And I'm like, hopefully Bill Lawrence does what Bill Lawrence does and just has like an unsatisfying opening episode of his show, which is rude to say, but it is kind of, I've watched a lot of Bill Lawrence, like, produced and created television in my lifetime, and it is something that I have noticed is an unfortunate trend, is that he just does not know how to start things. He's real good at the middle of things. Like, he will keep me watching for a season, and then like, because like essentially any season finale is not an ending, but it is like a middle. Like, he's really good at that. But then when that has to be resolved to, like, end it and then kick off whatever the next season is about, I always, I'm a little disappointed in this. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I Scrubs is one of those weird ones for me that was really popular, and I was... You know, I was somebody that watched it. I didn't watch it moment it came on. I wasn't that kind of like audience for it, but I was somebody that like, you know, my family had the DVDs, so I would watch through the first season that way. And then like, you know, I picked up a couple of other episodes in other ways, but like, it was never a show that was so near and dear to me, like creatively or artistically, that like, I didn't miss it when it was gone. You know, I didn't watch Scrubs Med School because I had heard it was a spinoff, and I just wasn't interested, to be entirely honest. And so there's this whole like weird side of this whole thing where I feel like everybody else holds Scrubs in such high regard, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I mean, so that first season of Scrubs, and I've certainly talked about this on other things, but I'll talk about it here because it's weirdly tied to my relationship as a broadcaster, which then is the reason why we do a show 20 years after the fact. But that first season of Scrubs, I made it a point to watch every episode when it was new. We were on vacation. I think we were in Nashville And I'm like, we need to get back to the hotel because I want to watch the Scrubs that's happening tonight. I need to watch it live. So, like, that was still when it was appointment television. And then to tie into the broadcaster, the first time that the radio station where I was working as an engineer and I was doing, like, promos and things for, they're like, we need somebody to cover the Tuesday night shift from 8 to 10, and we'd like to offer it to you because you're kind of, like, next in line to be a DJ for us. I ended up bringing a portable television with me. Remember when you could just, like, capture television from the air? I mean, I know that you can still do that, but, like, you could just do it. You didn't need, like, a digital converter or things like that. Like, TV was just
a couple of rabbit ears.
Yeah, flying through us. So I brought a portable television to the station with me, and I, like, cleared it with the I'm like, is it all right if I have a TV in here? And they're like, yeah, like, you can, that'll be fine. It just can't be on while you're on air. And I'm like, well, of course. My whole point is that, like, when I'm playing music, I'll watch the show, and then when the show goes to commercial, that's when I'll talk. And they're like, yeah, that'll be good. And also, considering it's your first time doing this and you're doing it solo, like, it'll be a good way for you to know how long between, playing music and then when you have to talk. Like, it'll be oddly a weird way to set the pace for that. The problem was that I said, after the show ended, right? Like, I didn't talk about the fact that I was watching Scrubs, but then at the 8:30 hour when it started, I'm like, so I just watched that new episode of Scrubs. If anyone out there watched it while we had this on in the background and you want to, like, talk to me about it, you can give us a call at, I'm not going to give the number, but it was almost out of my mouth right there. And I'd love to talk to you about it. And while we wait for that, here's AC/DC with Back in Black. And then the program manager came stomping in, and it was his show that I was covering for, like, just for the fun of it, right? Just because that's it. And he was so upset to find out that I had watched a television show. Like, nothing went wrong, right? Like, but he was upset that I had done it. And it's like, it doesn't matter. That guy was out the next year, and I was the DJ and winning all sorts of local radio awards for the next 3 years. But it was, like, one of those moments. So it does tie to it. But I will say, like, Scrubs was certainly appointment television for me. Scrubs only came back because of the DVD sales that you mentioned. But, like, it's not like you and I need another reason why we're such good friends, Sejin. But, like, having somebody else who was kind of just meh about Scrubs, like, that's something that galvanized our friendship. Because there are people, like, our third man, Will, fucking loves Scrubs. It's like the one thing we disagree on. Deep Blue Something has breakfast at Tiffany's. Will and I have Scrubs.
Yeah. I mean, I think I maybe enjoy it a little bit more than you do, even then. Like there's definitely even levels there, but there's nuance there. I mean,
oh yeah, of course.
Because, like, I do get why it is hugely popular for people of our age.
Yes.
I don't quite understand why there's this reverence for it to the point where we felt we needed a revival. Like, that's where I think it lost me, right? Is in that whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I haven't actually heard much about it, so I'm interested to hear your take on it.
The only thing that I heard beforehand was the first 2 episodes had a lot of the entertainment journalists being like, why the fuck is this happening? And, like, now that we were already kind of like, why is Scrubs getting a revival outside of the fact that, like, it does big numbers on streaming services? But now that we've seen the first 2 episodes, like, for real, why did Scrubs get a revival? Like, that's all I read about this series. And then I still watched every episode, and every episode still got me to cry. And, like, that's all I'll say on it. But I will say this. In terms of that nuance, those layers of enjoyment of Scrubs, I watched all of the 9th season, but I started watching the 9th season purely out of spite. Because everybody was like, I'm not watching a 9th season of Scrubs. I'm not watching a Scrubs spinoff. And I'm like, fuck you. I am. Nobody's going to want to talk to me about it. This is going to be great.
And I took that personally.
I mean, come on. Like, one of the reasons that, like, I fell off of Scrubs after the season 5 revival was that somebody thought that JD's iPod was named Toto. I know exactly the person who it was, but I'm not going to say their name. But that 100th episode, right, that was a huge reference to The Wizard of Oz with, like, someone needing a heart, someone needing a brain, and all that other stuff, like, crazy stuff that happens in that episode. It starts with JD in the bathtub listening to Africa by Toto. And, like, I knew that Toto was a band, but somebody in my life who should have known better, because I met them via that radio station and they also owned an iPod, was convinced that JD had named his iPod Toto. That's what he took away from that. I'm like, no, Toto's the band that sings that song. That's why his iPod said that, because iPods tell you what you're listening to.
I mean, I guess maybe like symbolically, since there's not a dog in the episode, is there?
No, it is meant to be like his little dog too is his iPod, but like his iPod is not named Toto. His iPod is probably still JD's iPod. or Dr. Acula's iPod.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Yeah. He really likes to listen to songs by I can't think of a blood band.
I can't.
Slayer. He's
negative.
Dr. Acula's
Slayer,
iPad
Slayer,
like Slayer. Yeah. He's a big fan of Raining Blood. Fuck me. Yeah.
So what was your other Castlevania?
So my other Castlevania, like, have you heard anything about Saint Slayer? Spear of Sacrilege? I think that's the title of it. I know it's Saint Slayer.
I've not heard a thing. Yeah, that is brand new to me.
Yes, Saint Slayer, Spear of Sacrilege. The crazy thing about it is that it was a Jeopardy answer. Like the Spear of Sacrilege, aka the spear that was used to stab Jesus Christ when he was on the cross. Like, it was legitimately a Jeopardy clue, like 2 days before the game released, which was just like really cool. Because then I'm playing the game and you talk to the guy and he's like, this is this spear. And it's like, no, that spear is in the Vatican. No, during the war, they moved it here to keep it safe. Like it's this whole crazy story. So you play Rudiger, who has just come back from, like, it's 17th century Europe, so probably the Crusades, and he's back at his little village, and the craziest thing about the village is that they do have a fairly opulent church, and so he goes out one day, and the undead are attacking the village, so he's like, I have to get to the church, so he gets to the church, and he finds a wizard there. I don't remember the wizard's name. Father Pacer. And Father Pacer is there, and he's like, I'm here to claim the spear. It's the one that stabbed Jesus. He gives it the actual name. I don't remember the name. If you want to look that up, you can, and then we'll have that for the listener. So Rudiger fights against Pacer, like they're like cultists. It's like a cult within the Catholic Church of who wants this thing. So you fight against the cultists, and then Pacer is shown to be the like necromancer who is bringing the dead back to life. He resurrects his cultists who kill them again, and then he defeats Pacer, and then he takes the spear so that he can like protect it. And he goes to chase after Father Pacer, because Father Pacer is saying things like, you don't understand the importance of this relic, and that he's talking
you wanted the name?
Yeah, what is the name of the spear?
So it's two different names. Holy Lance is usually what it's referred to as, but the Spear of Longinus is probably the name you're thinking.
Longinus is the one that I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
but it was like so cool, and then like the Spear of Longinus. Jamie Ding just gave that as an answer, as a question on Jeopardy. Like, so it was kind of cool. So then you set out on this journey to try to like track down Father Pacer. And, you know, you defeat him and all that. It's a Classicvania. It is a very linear game. People are upset because it has the Metroidvania tag on Steam, and it's not a Metroidvania. Like, it's not even a Metroidvania in the smallest ways. Like how, like, Curse of the Moon, when you play through second times, you have new moves, and it means you can go through the levels in different, like, paths and things. there's pretty much only a singular path through every level, except for the one level that is a maze. And legitimately, all paths lead to the end of that level. It just depends on like the interstitial scenes that you see between them and the semi like gauntlet-esque challenges that you take along the way to get through that. In fact, if I were going to offer, I have a huge criticism of this game, but I will save that. My smaller criticism of the game is that they're just flat, straight line levels. There's very little platforming that has to happen in this game. Like, you go through a library, there's 21 stages. Each like biome is separated into 2 stages and then a boss fight, which is cool. And and there's some stage leading up to the boss fight too. You don't just go into the boss fight, but like that's sort of the setup for it. The 6th biome, the final one leading up to a fight with a very buxom woman named Beatrix, who there is a spoilers for Saint Slayer. If you don't progress through the discussion with her, like Rudiger sees a photo of her and is like enamored with her the second he sees her, and he mentions how symmetrical they are. Like, it's that kind of gross stuff. That stuff that, like, we were complaining about with, like, Gal Guardians and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, this is kind of unnecessary in the game. When you get to the fight with her, if instead of, like, mashing through the text, you linger on the first thing that she says to him, legitimately, because it's got, like, the mid shot where it's, like, her shoulders and her head are shown. That mid shot drifts down to show that Rudiger is staring at her breasts. And then if you continue that, Rudiger can choose to give up his quest and submit to her. And if he does that, then it unlocks a secret ending of the game, where he essentially becomes her slave. And like, oh, okay, that's the thing that happened in the game. But that whole level leading up to it is legitimately just flat hallways walking through a library until you get to the like lecture hall where the fight against her happens. You don't actually fight her, you fight against something that she summoned, and then a la Final Fantasy 2/4, if you defeat someone's summon, it does damage to them, which is cool. I always liked that as like a thing in video games to keep you from like being a male character who's beating up a weaker looking female character. I don't know. It's a weird trope of video games that like you have to fight the lady boss, but we don't want to show.
They always want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like every time in a movie, they always need to make sure that if there's that they introduce a equal woman on the good side and on the bad side, so that they're the two that can fight in the final fight, so that none of the guys have to fight the women.
Yep. Yeah, looking at you, the Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok, so you can be the one to lay hands on Hela. Even though it's Norse mythology, everybody was fighting everybody. But yeah, so I mean, the game, like, it's fun to play. I do enjoy playing the game. I've beaten it like 2-3 times, which is cool. I haven't gotten that Beatrix ending. I found out about that later when I was watching somebody else, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm in a rush to have that shown on my PlayStation account that I did this ending. Once people find out what it is, I'll just be honest with you. But, and it's like, it's a really cool, like, story. Because, like, the ultimate thing is that Pacer is from the future. It's very, I just listened to some of our Brendan Fraser History Month episodes for reasons that I'm sure will become clear before the end of this episode. But talking about like Briscoe County Jr. and the whole time travel element with that show, like that seems to be exactly what Father Pacer is that he's from the future and he's come back to the 17th century in order to like claim these relics he knows will allow him to be more powerful in the future, which is kind of a cool concept. Every level that is not an auto scroller because there are some. That's not even true. There's a gondola level that's an auto scroller, and there's a hidden treasure in that one. Every level has a treasure except for the boss levels. So there are 14 treasures because there are 7 bosses, which is cool. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's very cool. Because the one where you're on the carriage, there's a treasure to unlock too. And the treasures are very well hidden. Like, you have to, like, even buying the hints to find them, I had to switch into secret searching mode to find some of them. And they're not all the same thing. Like, the spoilers again for Saint Slayer. In the 5th level, you have to get to a guy like before too much time has passed in order to get the treasure from him before he becomes like a zombie. Like, it's kind of cool stuff that's going on in the game. There's a lot of good concept stuff. The level design is fairly basic, which is kind of crap. The one level that you can like skip the whole level once you understand the mechanics of the game, which is something I really like. I like when a game gives you the opportunity to skip a difficult level the next time through, assuming you've learned all the game has to offer. My biggest complaint about the game is its classic mode. Because, I'm all about difficulty modes. I beat it on normal mode. There's easy, normal, hard, and classic. In classic mode, you only have 6 hit points, you have 3 lives, and you don't do a lot of damage to bosses. You kill enemies fairly quickly, and I think that damage table is the same, but the bosses, you do like regular Castlevania 1 levels of damage to them, which is interesting. Where I have a problem with classic mode is there are no continues in classic mode. Now that, understandable, right? We want to make the game hard as balls. You got to get through it with 3 lives. There are extra lives throughout the game. Get good, get through the game. However, if you're going to call it classic and your game looks like a fucking Castlevania game, Castlevania has unlimited continues. It is the saving grace of Castlevania as a game. Is that once you get to the next level, right? Once you get to the next biome, because that's broken up into 6 biomes with 3 stages each, the original Castlevania game. And very similar, where the first 2 are actual stages and then the third one is a boss fight. Usually with a little bit of exploration beforehand. So that works for me, right? But once you get through stage 3 and you enter stage 4, when you continue, you'll always start at stage 4. And right. they also give a huge benefit is that once you get to stage 18, which is only the fight against Dracula in the original Castlevania, you can continue forever from there. That's the way that the original Castlevania goes. So to call it classic mode, but say that there are no continues, it's but the game that you're referencing when you call this classic mode had continues. It didn't make the game any easier, but it kept me playing in a way that this does not keep me playing.
Yeah, that's a bit of a letdown. I mean, it's hard because, like you said before, though, there is this attitude still. It's not as prevalent as it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But the get good lifestyle, the way that people play these games and expect that kind of ridiculousness sometimes.
Yeah, I think if they just called it expert mode, the fact that they call it classic mode. And then spit in the face of what a classic Castlevania experience would be feels real strange. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just trying to rip off Holy Diver, which is very much a Castlevania from the NES time that is just hard as fucking balls. And it's got all the religious iconography that Saint Slayer has. But it just feels disingenuous to the experience that they created. I don't think that Lily Mo put in the classic mode thinking, oh yeah, this it just feels like people are going to want this, so we're going to include it. And it just, it feels a little lame. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. No, that's unfortunate. But I mean, overall, it sounds like there's at least some fun to be had. Like, how much is it?
It's a $10 game. I got to tell you, this episode was almost called the $10 game report, but I'd want more $10 games before we dedicate an entire episode to it. Plus, we got to go on the whole little like middle diversion there that I don't even know what you'd call it. But I've been playing some good $10 games over the last week. Cool. And I certainly got $10 worth of enjoyment out of Saint Slayer. I don't know if I'm going to go for the Platinum Trophy on it because it's available everywhere. That's the other nice thing, is that usually your $10 games are going to be on Steam. They're not on the other systems. So the fact that this is a $10 game across the board, that's nice. Because a lot of this, I'd like to play stuff on my PlayStation. Why do I have a PlayStation if I'm just going to play everything on my PC? Right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And honestly, I think that's why we're seeing all of the price raises to the game consoles, because I think a lot of people have caught up to that like realization. And now that it's difficult to afford a PC because of all of the RAM and everything going to AI, which, I mean, it really feels like that bubble is like already burst and we just haven't heard the sound yet.
Weren't we also already in a bit of a drought with like chips and shit due to the pandemic, storms and things? Like and the pandemic, we were already in like a chip shortage, and then these companies came along and were like, also we're gonna eat up the rest. Nom nom nom.
Yep, we're gonna eat up your GPUs because we need a lot of computing power so that our artificial intelligences can tell you which Powerpuff Girl you are. I know they do more than that, but like I don't. That's just what I wanted to say. So sorry, but yeah, it's that, and the thing that kind of bums me out about it is that, like, the PlayStation 5's, like, every store I go to has a bunch of them. So, like, the price has raised on, like, existing stock. It's not like it costs them more money to produce the PlayStation 5s. It will cost them more money to produce future PlayStation 5s, but they have an inventory right now. And because it's harder to get a hold of the computer chips and RAM and GPUs and all of that, they're like just raising their prices on the existing stock to take advantage of that. This is the first time ever, right? The 9th generation of consoles is the first time that after 5 years, the prices of the consoles have gone up instead of down. Yeah. And that's a gross precedent, Sejin. That's a disgusting thing to like have entered into the world. Because you know what's not going to happen with the 10th generation of consoles or beyond? A price cut after 5 years. Like
I don't know how long that can last though, man. You know, like it's gonna get to the point where places, I mean, as it is now, Walmart and Target and places like that don't want to really put this shit on the shelves. They'd much rather that like you order this from their online store or something so that they don't have to waste shelf space on this stuff. Because then it does hit these moments where, you know, there's could be a good year or two where there's a huge dip in sales because, you know, everybody's waiting for the price drop at that point. And like, I don't know, I don't understand the benefits that these companies get from doing this, right? Like, because it's so obvious that the long term, like, you're losing money, right? They must be losing money. I don't know. It's just, I don't understand why they would make a decision like that. It's also, you know, it's anti-consumer, which is never feels good, right? It just reminds us that our entire society is like built to stop us from having any fun, I think.
I mean, you're not wrong. I laugh at that, but only because it is just so, like, you just hit the nail on the head with that statement, brother. Like, it is, like, we want money from you, but don't have too much fun with the money you're spending. It is kind of a gross comment. I mean, they're also saying that, like, PS6 it will be $1,000 console. Like, it does seem to be a race to the who's going to sell the first $1,000 console. And then, like,
oh my God,
we're going to see the same fucking problem we saw with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. If Sony goes to market with the PS6 and it is $1,000 console, day one, we need $1,000 from you in order to purchase this.
It'll be $999.99, right?
Yeah, but then tax, man. Tax will make it almost $1,100, $11,000. I mean, 1,100. Sorry,
11.
I was dealing with how many pennies that would be, and that's why I got to thousands. Like we're gonna see. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be a big cost to do that. But if they do that, the solution will be from Microsoft to sell theirs for like $850. Right? And then if it's between, I want to play all the newest games and I can buy the $1,000 PlayStation or the $850 Microsoft machine, right? The Xbox, I don't know. I don't even know what you'd call it at that point. Because I honestly don't think we're going to see another iteration of Xbox. And yet Microsoft keeps talking about we're looking forward to our 10th gen system. Like, I don't know what to do with that information, sir. Thank you for that.
It's just gonna be an Apple TV. Like, it's
I really don't know. Or like what we're seeing with how much like the Steam console is supposed to be cost wise. Is they're talking about like it could be upwards of $700. Like, it's where we are, and it's such a weird landscape. But also, did you see the, like, pushback that is happening in the wake of Nintendo saying digital games will be $10 cheaper than physical games?
What was the pushback? The
pushback is Walmart is selling all their physical games at the $10 less price.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Yoshi game that's coming out, that I do not know how I feel about the new Yoshi game at all. I'm already a difficult sell on the Yoshi style games. But this new one just looks like Homework the video game in so many ways. If you go to walmart.com right now and look up that game, Yoshi and like the Big Book of Wonderfulness or whatever it's freaking called, it will say price in cart. If you click it, it's $59.88, which is actually an 11-cent saving over what Nintendo will be charging you for that game digitally on their storefront.
It's called Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, by the way. It's not as bumbling as you.
I don't know. Have you watched a trailer for it? Like, it just looks like every level has so much to collect in it. And that's one of the reasons why the Yoshi games don't work for me, is that just like 100%ing them is such chore. And legitimately, the Mysterious Book, it's like, in this level, we're going to learn about all of the enemy types and all of the ways that Yoshi can interact with the world. And every enemy type has like 4 or 5 entries on them. Like, it looks like Homework the video game. And I don't know if I'm going to be taking that plunge into that game, which feels weird because the only reason you get a Nintendo console is for the Nintendo first party games. So yeah, I mean, I've bought every Nintendo first party game for the Switch 2, except for the roller ball one, the murder ball game, Rock and Roll, I think it's called. I don't even know what it's called. The basketball one where you use the Joy-Cons as if you're in a wheelchair to move the wheels.
Whoa, that feels.
And then you shoot a ball. Yeah, like it's I don't know. I honestly don't know. Oh, the other one is the Splatoon game. Like a Splatoon game is finally coming out for Switch 2 this year. That's the other one where it's supposed to be. I think Yoshi's Woolly World is $69.99. And the Splatoon is $79.99 for the physical version, and Walmart has that one for the $10. What if you buy it through the eShop, you'll save the $10. Like, they're finally putting the cost of the physical version onto the consumer, which again, fuck that in just so many ways. Like, there's not going to be physical video games within 5 to 10 years. which is something that we've been talking about for about 5 years. But yeah, like it honestly, the changes are coming to make it less appealing to buy physical games. And the charge is being led by Nintendo. Like, the whole game keycard thing is ridiculous. That it's essentially like the stupid USB dongle that you get when you buy Pro Tools so that you can use Pro Tools is ridiculous to me. I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, remember, weren't they the company that had the whole setup in Japan where you would bring a disc to them and they would put games on it for you, and then like they would wipe it and put new games on, like they could rewrite to the disc essentially.
Yeah,
games.
Yeah, so that's the whole Famicom disk system. I mean, on one level, it was brilliant because it was difficult to produce cartridges. It became cost prohibitive to produce cartridges in Japan. So they came up with the disk system because discs were ultimately cheaper to produce for them. And what they wanted you to do was to bring your disc in, get, let's say, Super Mario Brothers 2, play it, beat it, and then go bring that same disc to them, wipe that game, and download like Metroid onto that same disc. Or if you wanted to, you could purchase a new disc so that you still had that disc and then load that one up with the new game. Like, they had options like that. But one of the reasons why, like, games are lost from the Famicom disk system is because, like, we just haven't found anybody who still has a disc with that game on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's what I'm getting at, like, right? Is like it seems like it's almost kind of going full circle.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a crazy thing, and it's nuts to think about that. Like, Walmart's like, fuck it, we're not taking part in this. And honestly, why would they? Because if the incentive is to buy the game directly from Nintendo because you save $10, if Walmart buys even 10 copies of that game, they're not going to sell all 10 copies of that game because most people vote with their wallet. So the way that they stay on the shelf until Walmart has to ultimately clearance them out, and then we see games for like $5, like we did with all of the game keycard games on the Switch 2. Like after 6 months where they were not selling because nobody wanted extra steps with their games.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same price if I buy this at home and then I have it on my Nintendo account forever. Right? Where if I ever lose this little thing, I still technically have it on my Nintendo account, but I can't activate it because I don't have that little piece of plastic anymore.
Yeah, it's like one of the promises of going digital would have been that idea that, like, oh, you'll always have your library. You don't have to worry about holding onto the physical thing anymore. But then it became like so obvious so quickly that was not going to be a benefit of this. But it feels like there's still some of that attitude, right? Of just like, yeah, you don't own this any longer. Like they've tricked us into not owning our shit.
Yeah, and they did it the way that you would do that is by telling people this will benefit you, but really it benefits us. I mean, look at games that are delisted all the time. Look at it's a sick, sad world that we live in, and we should have listened to Dario when they tried to warn us about that 35 years ago. Jesus. Yeah, that's fun, right? 30 years ago, maybe. Oh, Siegem. Oh, Siegem. You ready to tell the people what we're doing next month? Like, is there anything else you want to talk about here before we give people their own homework? One other thing before we get to it, because we're talking about how companies are sticking it to the man. Target is also doing that. It's weird to think of these big corporations as like maybe they should get some cred for not being as terrible as the other corporations. But like Target is refusing to raise the prices to the Hasbro prices. Like the MSRP on stuff is like a Voyager Transformers is supposed to be $40 now. Target still sells them for $30. The reason why those Deadpool Wolverine Hasbro Pulse figures are still $25 at Target is because Target is like, we're just going to sell them for the $25 because people will spend that money. They will not spend $42 on a G.I. Joe. It will sit on the shelf and then eventually we'll have to clearance it out. Though also, like when I talk about like Target is being just a little bit better, they clearanced out Target exclusive G.I. Joe figures, what everybody calls the ketchup and mustard divers from the Mass Device like 3-part episode. They clearanced them down to $12. All of them came off of the shelf until Target, like corporate, was done with that $12 thing. And now they are back on the shelf for the original $60 that the 2-pack cost. And that seems fucked up. That like we clearanced this out, but then a bunch of stores were like, we can't, this will be a loss for us. So we're going to hide them while they're clearanced and then we'll put them back up when they're at the regular price again. Like that, they're not superheroes for doing these things. Walmart and Target are still like the lesser evils in terms of corporations. And some of them, it's not even that much less that we're talking about. But it is nice to see Target being like, we're going to sell them at the prices that toys sold for. If we continue to raise the prices, we just get stuck with a bunch of stock that will not move. And then that will kill this industry. And then Walmart being like, yeah, we're doing the same with our video games. Nintendo can suggest we sell them at $60, but we're just going to sell them for the price that Nintendo sells them for so that we actually get sales. Which does lead me to question how much markup there is on video games that Walmart is willing to do that.
Yeah, there's a mysterious kind of side to all of this that we're never going to get real answers on, and that we don't know what the percentages really are on video game sales. You know, we don't even really know it when it comes to stuff like movie ticket sales, but we have an idea. Enough people have kind of spilled the beans about what goes on that we have an idea of what those percentages are there. But like, there's not much for people to actually go on. So we kind of just whenever we see the prices go up, we're just like so quick to just jump on like these producers of these things when it could be anybody in the middle that is also responsible for that.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember that like when I worked at Best Buy, you got the percentage was up. Like that was the best employee discount program of any of the retail jobs that I worked, was when I worked at Best Buy, because you got 10% off of the cost the store paid for whatever item. So like that was crazy, but like on video games and stuff, essentially it was 10% off the regular price. But if you were like buying a refrigerators have like a 40% markup. So you'd be like getting 50% off of a fridge with your discount. Even though you only save 10% as an employee, you save 10% off of the cost to the store. I mean, and it worked for retention for a long time. But then, like, you see items like MacBooks and things, like, they essentially get back the cost that they put into them to have them at the store, which is why they want to try to sell the Geek Squad protection stuff, because then that's pure profit for the company of Best Buy.
Yeah, especially because you're never going to call them.
Exactly, right? You're not going to use that. Ditto with like protection plans on things. Like, again, let's continue pointing our pitchforks towards Target. The fact that like every toy has a protection program on it, that's so that they actually make pure profit off of those toy sales. And like, what does a protection program for a toy do? Like, if I buy a Marvel Legends figure that released in 2026, which I won't because it's the last Marvel Legends that I'll ever buy. But if I were to buy one in 2026 and then in 2027, like they're like 2-3 year protection programs for like $5 on a figure. It depends on however much the figure costs. So let's say it breaks like a year and a half into the 3 years that I have it. If I contact them, at most, I'm going to get a refund for the purchase. It's going to be difficult to source me a replacement for that figure. Because, like, that's just not how it works. Like,
well, and then you get into the weird shit in a lot of those agreements where it's like equivalent item
yes.
also becomes kind of like, what does that mean when it comes to this sort of shit? Like, am I going to get something equivalent in the price that I paid? Is it going to be something that was equivalent in terms of its actual value? Because, like,
yeah, what is the true value of a toy? Is it an equivalent value based on, you know, when you bought that, we were charging $30 for Marvel Legends figures. Now we're charging $25. So right now that $30 figure is only worth $25. So here's $25 back.
Yeah,
like,
right. Fuck.
Like that. Yeah, equivalent is one of those words that can really fuck you over with those deals. But yeah, you know what? This has been enough negativity. So let us turn our eyes towards the future and what will be the 11th Brendan Fraser History Month overall, but the 10th Brendan Fraser History Month that we are celebrating here at the Say Report. And I am very, very excited because we're getting a little saccharine. We're going to get a little, what's the word? Gushy, mushy,
sappy?
Sappy
Gushy?
is the word that I could not think of. We're going to get sappy with our 10th year doing this. Because there are some great films that are celebrating their 30th anniversary in 2026 that feature Brendan Fraser. But then there's also one that Sejan's wanted to do for a long time. So we're going to kick things off with that like weirdly slots in with this group of 4 films that we're going to be covering for Brendan Fraser History Month 2026. So if you want to be prepared, we are going to try to focus on the Brendan Fraser-ness of this month again. Episodes will probably have like a brief, where have you been in life, and then mostly focus on the on the movie that we've picked for that episode. So it's going to kind of be a month of very special episodes celebrating Brendan Fraser. We're going back to our roots, everybody, and I'm excited about it. I really am. Anything you want to say before we give the people the list, Sejan? Anything you want to say about Brendan Fraser History Month? I mean, I know you're going to have 4 episodes to talk about it, but, you know, preamble.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to roll into this one, especially because we get to talk about, you know, our hangout together and stuff like that, and it's going to be a good time.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
I think it's a lot of movies that I've been waiting to watch. It's some that Sejan's been waiting to celebrate on the show, so it should be good. So just get your calendar apps out, take your calendar apps, open them up. Let's all look at May so that you can understand what we're going to be doing in May. And if you want to follow along with us, you can make sure that you see the movies before each of these episodes drop on the Monday that day release. These are fun words. So the first one releasing on May 4th, May the 4th be with you, we'll be watching 1995's The Passion of Darkly Noon. And CJ, do you want to give the people a quick log line on that one? Because I love your description of this.
Yeah, so Brendan Fraser plays a young man that falls in love with an older woman, and he becomes obsessed with her to the point of like violence. It's a sexual thriller. Yeah. It's getting some weird in a lot of the like quick reviews that you could pull up on like Google. There's a lot of people talking about it being very David Lynchy.
Yeah, which should be fun. I liked Sejan when he first sold me on The Passion of Darkly Noon, where he's like, Brendan Fraser plays a God-fearing boy who finally discovers sex.
Oh, yeah. That is part of it, that I think that it's like the first time he's had sex with a person, and so he becomes very obsessed with them. So
it should be a fun
weird one.
So for May 4th, make sure that if you want to, no spoilers or anything like that, because like this is the spoiler warning, and we'll do it at the actual start of Brendan Fraser History Month as well. But like we're just going to be talking about these movies to celebrate, our favorite guy that we celebrate in May, Brendan Fraser. So The Passion of Darkly Noon is May 4th. For Mother's Day, I have chosen that one. We'll be recording on Mother's Day, Mrs. Winterbourne, which I'm excited about because it's the same screenwriter who wrote Milk Money. And honestly, like, they're the only two scripts this guy has ever done. And Milk Money is a dangerous banger from my youth that I really enjoy. So I'm excited to see the guy who wrote Milk Money, the movie about 3 11-year-olds pooling their milk money to buy a prostitute so they could see a naked woman to finally become men, paired with Brendan Fraser. And this is another film where he's like, there's an older woman and he's a younger dude, and and there's a relationship there. So yeah, Mrs. Winterbourne is your homework for the May 11th episode of the Say Report in Brendan Fraser History Month 2026. Also, that movie is 30 years old, so it's a 30th anniversary episode. Which now brings us to the May 18th episode, which legitimately, I know nothing more about this movie than the description on IMDb, which I will read verbatim right now. Pregnant Suzanne learns her healthy fetus likely carries a gay gene, like her brother David. She weighs abortion while her family grapples with acceptance during her decision-making process. 1996's The Twilight of the Golds. I have so many questions. Like, is this supposed to be some future where they have the ability to detect homosexuality? Like, what the hell is that?
We're in some dangerous waters this season, folks.
Yeah. But the cast is incredible. Gary Marshall, Faye Dunaway, Jennifer Beals plays the titular Suzanne. One wonders if Jennifer Grey would have been a better choice, but I'm sure she winds up in the corner. And Brendan Fraser is the one who is playing like her brother David. That David is played by Brendan Fraser. So it's also a 30th anniversary celebration. Make sure that you endure. Because again, this is not a movie that either of us have seen. It's just a movie that I was looking back and I'm like, what an insane description for a movie with Brendan Fraser. Which is also crazy because we've seen things like Gods and Monsters. But yeah, so Twilight of the Golds is your homework for the May 18th episode. And then to finish off the month, we're going to finally discuss I think this is certainly the latest movie that he was in that released cinematically, right? I don't think he has anything after Rental Family so far. Oh, spoilers, it's Rental Family. Well, he has Breaking Bear that's supposed to happen. The weird Tubi remake of Breaking Bad where they're bears in the wood. I have no idea what that's going to be about, but I know I'm going to watch it. But yeah, so 6 months to the day that we will be recording our May 25th episode is when Sejan and I saw Rental Family together at the Warwick Showcase Cinema. And there were not a lot of other people in that theater with us, but, you know, we got to see Rental Family, and we're finally going to talk about it 6 months later. So it's available. It's on Hulu right now, streaming. It's also available for like digital rental. Of the films that we're going to be talking about in Brendan Fraser History Month 2026, that'll be the easiest one to find. So do yourself the favor of enjoying Rental Family before you come listen to our episode that releases on Memorial Day 2026. Because we're going to go hard on Rental Family. Not only because it is the last film that Brendan Fraser was in that released, in theaters, like it had a wide release and everything like that, but also we already went pretty hard on it as I drove Sejan home after watching the film. So I'm excited to readdress that film with a microphone in front of me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So that's Brendan Fraser History Month 2026. That's what you have to look forward to. Quick rundown again. The May 4th episode is The Passion of Darkly Noon. May 11th is Mrs. Winterbourne. May 18th, Twilight of the Golds. And then to finish off the month on May 25th, it will be The Rental Family Report. So that's what we have to look forward to. I'm excited. I think that we've weirdly stitched together what will be a fun month of Brendan Fraser films.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a good one. This is going to take us out of our comfort zone in a couple of these, and I'm down for that. I'm super down for that.
Right, and I think that's the best way to celebrate somebody that you have like adoration for, is to like maybe see all of the darkness that's there as well. Right? We can't just cover the Mummy every episode for Brendan Fraser History Month. I mean, I would love that, and honestly, I think I just got an idea. An awful idea, a wonderfully awful idea. But we'll address that once it comes along. Until then, I think I'm good for this episode. Is there anything else that you want to make sure that we add to the People Sieging right now? Or are you ready to wrap this one up in a tight little bow?
No, let's go. Let's wrap it up.
All right. So just quick thing. Saint Slayer, Spear of Sacrilege, and Vampire Crawlers. They're two $10 games. They're Castlevania Adjacent, and they do get the Devon Decker seal of approval. You're not going to be upset with the $10 that you spend there. Where like the $10 on Ratcoin, honestly, now that I have Vampire Crawlers, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to Ratcoin. I'm just going to be honest with you. Sorry, Siegen. Well, I know. Yeah.
I'm so heartbroken.
All right. But with that, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. If you liked what you heard, you can join our Discord to keep the conversation going. Invitations to join are currently available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. In addition to that, if you're not on social media and you want to get involved in the Discord, send an email to us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join. And if being on Discord is honestly a bridge too far for you, because it's kind of social media adjacent now, literally they let me customize what my screen name looks like, which just seems so MySpace to me, Siegen. You can just communicate with us via email. Again, thesayreport@gmail.com. The most important thing is that it's for him, Siegen Sarwick, or me, Devon Decker. You put our first name in the subject line so it can be distributed appropriately, so that I'm not privy to anything that you have to say to Siegen. But do understand, if you send me something and I read it and I think, oh my God, we need to talk about this on the show, I need Siegen's insight on this, I might bring it to the show. Any submissions to us via email or on the Discord is open to being discussed on the show and being used for us to create content, just like Strong Bad emails. So it's just a thing to keep in mind. And that should keep our non-existent lawyer happy that I said that thing. One last thing before I send it over to Will. It's the end of April, baby. And that means a very special episode will be coming to all of the subscribers through our RSS feed on the final Thursday of the month, which is also coincidentally the final day of the month in April. Who planned that? And just to give everybody a heads up on that one, we're continuing our journey through the American Pie franchise with American Pie Presents The Naked Mile. So make sure you're subscribed so that will show up in your podcast feed, and you can enjoy as we kind of lose our minds over the 5th film in the American Pie franchise. With all of that said, thank you all again so much for listening to this episode. We look forward to seeing you again in May for Brendan Fraser History Month. And William, please bring us home. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Siegen Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.